I can
okay?
hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened.
Oh,
Apparently, my Discord crashed.
Oh, are you good
oh,
now?
Yeah, I'm good, fine.
Okay. I don't know. What was I saying? Crap. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So in our house, we have a strict rule. Um, our kids play video games, but until you are 18, you are not allowed to play any video games that involve guns. Okay. Um, if you play a game that a gun is an option, you are not allowed to use it. So like Antonio plays Ark Survival. A gun is an option. Knows he's not allowed to use it, so he will use every other weapon but a gun. Um, the other day, I walked in on him playing Roblox. He loves Roblox, but he knows there are certain Roblox games he is not allowed to play. I walk in
oh,
on
I've
him.
seen those. I've seen those.
Yeah, I walk in on him, and he's on the and he plays. He has to play on an open TV. He can't play on a phone or anything like that. So like he's in the living room playing Roblox on the PS5. I walk into the living room and I see that he is using a gun in whatever game he's playing. I immediately he immediately switches the gun for a different weapon, thinking I didn't know this. And I tell him, I said, turn it off, go up to your room until dinner's ready. We will talk after dinner. He lost uh console
He,
privilege and was told he could not play any games for the rest of the night, right? And that he was also told if we see you playing a game like that again, knowing you're not supposed to, you will not be able to play Roblox anymore at all. And because that's how serious it is. Like it's not a oh well it was just a one time thing. He's usually really good about it. Like no, this is a strict rule we have. We've had it since you started playing video games. You know the rule, and I know you know the rule because you always come and you always ask me. He will come to me and say, "Mom, is this a good game?" I'll look at the game first, do research on it, and then be like, "Yeah, this is good." Um, so he knows the rule. He knows what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do. So for him to do it shows that yeah, he knew it was a rule. He broke it intentionally, and now there's consequences. And so it's called intentional parenting. Okay, we don't do guns in this house until you are 18. Then you can play whatever video games you want because you're an adult. But until then, no. And if you break the rule, guess what? You're not playing any video game. Point blank. Period. And that's what more parents need to do. Like you need to be intentional.
And I
and
would
see,
say
and
that's
all of
good
this,
parenting because many of these people don't really like understand. You're a parent. You're not your kid's friend. You're their parent.
Exactly. Exactly. And video games are not supposed to be like, oh, I'm going to sit you in front of the TV and let you play video games for the rest of the night so you can stay out of my face. No. Set limits. I don't, regardless of what your kid is playing, set limits. Antonio knows he cannot sit on the Xbox the entire evening. Like, you're going outside, you're going to play with your toys, you're like, you only have so long on that Xbox. Like, it's just, or PS5, whatever he decides to play on. And that's another thing, because a lot of times the TVs, whether it be YouTube or video games or whatever, the TVs are actually raising the children. The parents aren't.
Like even me now as an adult, it's like I have access to like like I said, I have my own console. I have a PS5. I have an Xbox. I have a PC. But my issue, like everybody else, is time. I have to literally go to work, so I don't even have time to even sit down and play video games for hours on end. I can't do that. I
and see,
wish,
Well,
and
but I
that's another.
can't.
You bring up a good point, Dean. When these students that leaves from the school, they're at home before the parents go home, and they playing these games that they should not be playing.
the parents need to know what they're doing, whether they're home or not. That's part of the problem. You should have
Right?
access to see what your children are doing. And let me tell you, and I've said this before on this podcast, when they are under the age of 18, the only privacy that they have is the privacy that I decide that they can have as a parent. I'm going to give you a cell phone, but I better know the passcode to that phone. And when I ask to see that phone, I better be given that phone. And when I go to put the passcode in that phone, it better be the same one that you gave me. It better not have changed without you telling me what it is. Because at any given time, as the one who bought you the phone, the one who pays for your service on your phone, it is my phone. If I decide that I want to look through it or look at anything in it, that is my right as your parent. You are only whatever age you
You
are.
know, my daddy used to say this: "You're under my house. You're under my rule. You're going to comply." And the parent tells
And
you
if you don't
you're
want to
under
comply,
you're
there's a door.
That's actually
that.
funny. Real quick, Rich, before you finish, let me tell you a story real quick because that's actually funny that you say that. My oldest is 19. Okay. The other day, the two boys, a 7 and 19-year-old, I told them to go up to their room and clean their room. They decided that that was going to be a battle cry to start World War III because they don't know. They're 7 and 19, but for some reason they don't know how to clean their room without like a big war, right? So I heard them yelling and screaming at each other. I heard people, things being thrown. I went up there and I made it very clear. I don't want to hear this again. I don't want to have to come up here again. Made myself clear. Came downstairs, sat at the computer for not even a whole 10 seconds, and I heard it again. I walked straight upstairs, looked my 19-year-old in the face, and said, "Get the fuck downstairs." Looked my 7-year-old in the face, "Get the fuck downstairs." When they got downstairs, they stopped at the bottom of the steps waiting for me to come down. I looked both my 19-year-old and my 7-year-old straight in the eye, and I said, "Now you go sit on that fucking couch and don't you fucking move until your dad gets home." My 19-year-old didn't even bat an eye. He didn't look back at me and say, "I'm 19, I'm grown, you can't ground me, you can't put me in timeout, blah, blah, blah." He went and he did what I told him to, and he sat on that couch in timeout at 19 years old as a grown-ass man. Because he knows, look, I might be a grown-ass man, but this is my mom's house, and I'm not going to disrespect my mom. If she tells me to go sit on that couch until my dad gets home, I'm going to go sit on that damn couch until my dad gets home, no matter what age I am. And they literally sat there, both of them, for a whole hour. Because my oldest knows, you might be 19, you might be a grown man, but if you disrespect me, I'm going to kick that ass. Point blank period. I don't care how old you are. This is my house. And so that's just how it is. Parents have to lay the law down. Don't make your kids afraid of you, but make them fear you from an authority level. Okay? Make that fear be based on respect, not like fear based on being afraid because you're gonna hurt them or something. I would never hurt my kids, but when I very rarely get mad. Okay, like my husband is more of the authoritarian. So when I start raising my voice and I look you dead in the eye and I tell you to go sit the fuck on the couch and stay there, you really effed up. Okay, because that's not really like what I do. That's not who I am. That's not the role I mostly play. So my kids know, okay, we really pissed mom off right now. Like we're gonna respect her because if we don't, we might not, make it out of this alive. Like my kids know, like when you get me to that point, it's done. Like it's done.
I mean, and that's a very good thing. A very good thing. But a lot of the time, it's like some of these kids never heard of the word no, never heard of anything else. And of course, and a lot of time it goes both. Respect goes both ways.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Because if you're like walking around being big and bad, expecting them like demanding respect from all of your kids, but you got none respect for none of your kids, then yeah, of course they're gonna act out and
That's
stuff.
that's the problem today. Parents are not standing up for the rules of their household.
Oh no,
That's
children
another
run the
thing.
house. Children run the schools. Children run everything nowadays. And it's like I had an IEP for one of my kids today, and I walked into the school, and like she's sitting there and she's rolling her eyes and she's making smart comments, and I'm sitting there, and after so long, I looked at her and I said, "Who are you talking to? Like, you are talking to a room full of adults. You can either come at us correct or not say anything at all." I said, "Because you roll your eyes one more time, and I will permanently keep them that way." And the one teacher looked at me like, okay. Like, she looked kind of scared there. And I'm like, no, they do not need to be. And so when she left the room and it was just us adults, I told the one teacher, I said, "Do not let her talk to you like that." I said, she is a child. She should not be rolling her eyes at you. She should not be talking to you with that smart mouth. You need to tell her what it is going to be. You need to lay down that law for that child because she is not an adult. She does not run this class. She does not run this meeting. She does not run this school. You need to put her in her place. It's that simple. But the teachers, even, they're not putting these kids in their place, and these kids are walking all over these teachers. And not a lot of parents are like me. They're not going to go into these meetings and tell their kids to shut up and not to talk like that. I am, though. I'm going to tell them. I will correct my kids. I don't care who is there watching me. You do not talk like that to adults. Point blank, period.
Like I have seen videos, especially like on Facebook and TikTok and all this, where I see parents where they do like two different things. They try to do the gentle parenting, and they
Oh,
do
don't get
like
me started.
they do the very firm, like very like what's it called, like I don't want to say firm, but like very
Firm parenting.
yeah.
That's what it is. Firm.
Okay, so firm parenting. So I was right. So then, of course, I would see like this mom with her child, and her dad is obviously in the background. So her mom was doing like this version of like gentle parenting, where she tells her kid who was like standing right in front of the refrigerator, and she tells her, "Darling, please move out of, please get out of the refrigerator so I can close the door." And she said it nicely, right, just so she can see, so we could see, like we the viewers could see. And the dad, she had told her like 3 times, and she was like, "No, I'm not moving." The dad then comes in and was like, "Close the motherfucking door, or I'm gonna beat that ass." She basically moved it. Once she heard her dad, she moved out of the way and they closed the door.
Exactly. Don't get me started on gentle parenting because I will. I saw this one video. This child is literally couldn't be no more than 6 years old on YouTube in his mom's face, calling his mom a bitch, saying "f this, f that, you're a bitch, you're the." And this mom is sitting there.
No.
But listen, this mom is sitting there with this child saying, "Now we know we're not supposed to use words like that, and you know, no, you. Why have you not knocked his teeth out of his mouth yet? Why is that boy still sitting there yelling at you like that?"
Why is that parent is allowing that kid to talk on TikTok or Instagram or whatever? Take it up and take
But
it away from them.
I tell my kids all the
That
time.
too.
My kids are 7, 14, 15, and 19. And I tell them every time. First of all, I'm your mom. So the only way you can address me is mom or mother. I'm not your bruh, okay? I'm not yo, I'm not none of those things. I am mom or mother, okay? So if you're not going to use any of those words to address me or come at me, then don't come at me, okay? It's anything that you say other than mom or mother is disrespectful, and we're not playing that game. If you call me a bitch, guess what? You just called me out my name because my name is either mom or mother. So you just called me a bitch. You called me out my name. Now it's on. We're fighting. Let's go. Let's go. Because if you really want to know about yourself, I can tell you about yourself too. Because you might be my child, but trust me, I have things in my head about you just like you have things in your head about me, but you would never hear me say them out loud to you because I respect you. And I'm not going to call you out of your name. I'm not going to sit there and call you a bitch. So why are you calling me out of my name and calling me a bitch? I mean, it's point. Like, I'll be honest. As a mother, I have thought in my head when my daughters are sitting there being smartasses. I have thought inside my head, if this bitch don't. But I would never call her a bitch to her face or out loud because that is disrespectful. And that goes back to what Dean was saying. If you want respect, you got to respect your kids. Don't go around calling your kids assholes and bitches and then correct them when they say it to you. If you don't want your kids to call you out of your name, don't call your kids out of their name either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's another thing is, when you talk about calling you directly, I'm going to ask you a question. What does the word SOB means?
Son of a bitch.
Literally.
Yeah. That's my favorite. That's my favorite phrase out of everything.
But I'm going to tell you one thing. If I said that to your son, what does son of a bitch means? Saying that to your son.
You just called me a bitch.
That's exactly. People don't realize they are calling their mamas and daddies or whatever name they use.
Well, and you
And
know what? That's actually
you're calling their parents. You're talking about their parents.
funny, Rick. 'Cause the other day, Mia was talking to Ashlina, and she called her a son of a bitch. Yeah, you just called me a bitch, and I'm not even in your argument. Why are you sitting there insulting me when you're trying to have an argument with your sister? You just and Tamia had to think about it. And I was like, yeah, son of a bitch, you are telling her that her mother is a bitch. So you just called me a bitch, and I have nothing to do with whatever the hell y'all talking about. And Tamia, she's like, oh, what? Huh? Like, yeah,
See,
you just.
you have to be careful what you say. You do not insult somebody's parents. That's a big no-no.
Well, I always say that too. Like when they're sitting there beefing with somebody online or somebody from school or something, and they start talking about their parents, and I'm like, yo, their parents ain't got nothing to do with what y'all are arguing about. Like, leave the mom and dads out of this. Like, come on, because they be sitting there, and they be talking about like, the one girl that Lena was fighting with came out and was like, that's why your dad's dead, because Lena's real dad is dead, and so she like they were arguing verbally, and the girl comes at Lena and she's like, "That's why your dad's dead. He let himself die so that he ain't have to put up with you and raise you no more." Because and it's just like, why, why is that even where these kids go to? Like, yeah, her father was killed in a drug
It's a
incident.
reaction that they want. It's the reaction is what they want. They try to rough them up, right? And they do the same thing with me when I was younger. They try to like press everything a button to get you mad and get you in trouble. But then once you realize what's going on, you're like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Talk whatever the hell you want.
But it's just like, dude, like I tell, uh, she gets really upset when people talk about me. Like when the people are shit talking with her and they talk about me. Don't talk about my mama, blah, blah. And I'm like, they can say whatever the hell they want about me. Like, I'm an adult. They're children. They want to sit there and talk shit about me. Let them. Like, I don't give a shit. It don't bother me one bit, and it shouldn't bother you. Like, let them talk. They don't know me. Let them talk about me. I mean, I could care less. I won't put a hands on a child, but I mean, you can say whatever you want to say about me. I don't give a. I know who I am. I ain't gonna. Ain't no child gonna be my validation. You gonna call me? Oh well, your mom's a bitch. So yeah, I know I'm a bitch. You got something else? Cause that's not a good one. I know I'm a bitch. I'll take it. That's a compliment. Like I tell my kids all the time. She's like, oh, you're. My one daughter likes to always tell me, you're fucking crazy. And I always remind her, I'm like, you have not seen crazy yet, but if you keep pushing, you will see crazy. You want to see crazy? Keep talking, because I will let all the crazy out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
say that all the time.
I think we cover one thing, and I want to add one thing to this. I talked about Dean about spanking. Too many of the
Yeah.
state laws have anti-spanking law. You can't even tap a kid on the hand. That's violence. But here's the thing is, sooner or later, it's going to have to, it needs to go to the Supreme Court. And I'm going to tell you what, it has been in a family traditionally to discipline their child. And when the government gets involved in making laws, invading parents in their home, spanking, it's been a tradition, and 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 I'm gonna use that under the religious statement. Spank them because courts needs to knock down these anti-spanking law because it's violating the parents' right to discipline their kid. Spanking. I've been spanked by my mother.
I'm
One
gonna be
time I
completely
remember
honest with you.
I got about 50 licks one time. Tell me that.
Well, I'm
That's some
gonna be
serious
completely
shit.
honest with you. There's a big difference between spanking and abusing the child. Like I
I
have
agree with
seen,
you now.
like
I agree with you. I
if
agree
you're
with you now.
if the child is misbehaving or is talking back, yeah, smack them in the face, hit them across the face, and tell them, you know what, stop that. Right? But there's a big difference where if the child is misbehaving, right, or talking back, you decided to just lay on top of them instead of just pound on them and punch in their face, yeah, that you're crossing a line right there.
I agree with you there,
Exactly.
Dean. Say, and spanking is it for? And I mentioned this to Dean, and I even mentioned this to my mother. That what happened if a child is being verbally warned and all that, never got a spanking in their life, and they ended up being brats upon their, among their friends, and they start getting beat up. They cannot understand the violence. They cannot understand because they never got a spanking in their life. They never got a lick. Spanking is a warning. Over the years, it shows if you do something, you get spanked. But when you get
Yeah,
older,
growing up,
and,
I remember.
you would understand that. But the ones that never got a lick do not understand that, and they don't
Yeah,
get it.
you need to spank that child. Spank
Yeah,
that child.
like for example, like me growing up, like yeah, I would get like three warnings. The first one would be like kind of calm, kind of chill, be like, "Yo, knock it off." The second one is gonna be a little more firm, and then the third one, right, is gonna be a little more stronger, right? The fourth one, if I still do the same thing, yeah, I will get smacked around.
Yeah, yeah. You about to get it. I give my child one warning. I don't give them three. I don't give them two warnings. They get one. I'm gonna tell you right now. This is how it goes. You either stop, or I'm gonna beat that ass. So if I verbally tell you to stop and you don't stop, when you see me walking towards you because you're doing it again, you better run because you gonna get it.
And that's
Exactly, it's
another
like
thing. What
common
about
sense.
what's your opinion about corporal punishment in Lanique? Spanking and corporal punishment. What's your opinion of that?
I
Because I know
have
you're in
no
the
idea what
teacher.
that is.
Um, I'm not against it. Um, I I spank my child. Um, do I hit with a belt or anything like that? No. Because I don't need to.
Let me tell you
I've
something. Your
gotten
kids are
I've
blessed
gotten a
because
belt.
mine did.
I've gotten a belt before,
So have
Um,
I.
but I didn't get black and blue. No,
Oh, I
I
did.
got a belt, but I didn't get black and blue.
I
um,
did.
but I will also say, making your children do work as punishment is fine as well. Okay. Um, now, do you want to have them do something that is physically harmful to them as that work? No. Um, but I've seen parents that have made their children walk to school. Like you acted up on the bus. Okay, you're walking to school.
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
gonna follow.
like this dad that I saw like many times on everywhere where like yeah, he's driving behind his daughter. I think the daughter's like 10 years old. She was like picking on some kid and got kicked off the bus. So his dad was like, you know what, you wanna be a bully? Okay, let's go. You're walking 10 miles to school, I'm gonna be right behind you.
Yeah, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. I 100% would do that. I 100% would do that. Matter of fact, um, so our school, where our house is actually close to our school. Both they're in walking distance to our schools. And I've made my daughter walk home from school. I didn't go drive behind her. She's 15. She has walked home from school. Oh, you got kicked off the bus? Okay. Let me talk to the principal. Tell the principal. I'm giving her permission to walk home. We only live we live on this
And you
street. It's
also
this far away.
and you give the bus driver permission to kick her out the bus too.
Ah, well, here's the cool thing about Antonio's bus driver. So Antonio's bus driver actually lives right up the street from us. Like we know her personally. And so I actually told her the one day, I said, and I was joking, of course, but I told her the one day, I said, if he acts up on the bus, just smack him. Just smack him. Beat him upside his head. Like, I tell people that all the time. Tamia has this one friend that she does everything with. Like, she's actually at a school game with her right now. And her grandma takes them everywhere they go. Girl's grandma. And so, like, I go out and I she went to the beach with them over the summer for the week. And so I'm talking to the grandma outside when they're getting ready to go to the beach. They went to Ocean City, I think. And I told the grandma straight up, I said, if she gives you any attitude, if she comes at you incorrectly, you know, I said, beat her. Like, whoop her ass. Don't let her talk to you like that. Don't let her disrespect you. Don't let her not listen. And the grandma laughed, and I was being serious. I was like, beat her ass. Like, you are responsible for her for the next week. Okay, if she does anything out of order, you beat that ass.
And that's a good thing because, like I said, if you have set authority in your own home, then you're allowed to tell whoever is looking after them, hey, you got authority over my child because you're the adult. You're the one that's looking after this child. You got the permission to ground him, punish him, do whatever you need to do because you're basically, quote unquote, parent, right, for that time being.
Well, yeah,
I
like,
I I wouldn't say teachers are parents, but teachers are authority. Uh,
Yo!
handling 10 to 20 students, they got to show that, not to make an example out of the student, but to show an example of what happens when they cut up in class.
yeah, like when I had to tell those teachers today, do not let her talk to you like that. Like, why are you letting that child talk to you like you are not an adult? Like, you are an adult. Put your foot down. I mean, if you got to put your foot in her ass to make her stop talking to you like that, go for it.
And what, you gonna turn her into a puppet now?
I'm just saying, like, as long as she don't come home with no red marks, if she's disrespecting you and you got to beat that ass, that ass.
That's
Like,
hilarious. That's priceless.
I'm serious. Like, I'm not
I mean,
playing. I
I have been spanked in school before, and I'm gonna tell you, the paddle
Yeah,
that they
because you
use
don't know you're
is
older than Moses, so of course you're gonna get spanked at school.
but yeah, but that I'm gonna tell you what, it's plastic, and it's black, and it's about 2 feet long. She's got a handle, and she whacked that thing so hard at me, and
you know what?
she kept it until I submit.
I'm gonna tell you what. They need to have those paddles in every class.
That went on about 30 minutes between me and the principal.
They need to have that in every classroom, whether they use it or not. Because if the students, these kids just see that thing, I guarantee you they gonna straighten up real quick because they know that thing is sitting there for a reason. You fuck up, I'm gonna smack you with that shit.
Like I
I,
actually seen videos where they have like a big ass paddle, and they have the student bend over. He's like whack that damn paddle right on their ass like 3 times.
But see, this is what the principal did, because
yes,
this
for
is an
shower.
elementary school, holding my hand up in the air and whack that behind. I mean,
Yeah.
I could be swinging around like a top, and she's still gonna get me on the rear end.
But
Uh,
anyway, it's kind of extremely late. I know you wanna
yeah.
spend
I have to
time
go
with.
get.
But here's the point: it is that what's going on in school shooting. We see the things that we discuss. These are the results of shooting because of the lack of parenting and teachers and whatever authority figure to keep things in line. That's what's
I
going on today.
I agree. I agree. But I gotta go get these kids in the shower so they can get
Yeah.
ready for
So
bed.
final closing arguments here.
Um, school shootings are terrible, and it's very heartbreaking that they happen. And I am praying for the families of those who were killed in yesterday's attack. Especially the children. Nobody should have to bury their child. Like, that's just so heartbreaking.
That's what Mama did when my brother was murdered. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. She wasn't the only one that buried it. Me and my two other brothers. Well, I think my other brother and my sister-in-law. We all went to the funeral home to discuss about Barrett,
Yeah. But no parents.
JC Barrett, and also we were there about Richard being buried, and that's Mama's grandson. That is my
Yeah.
nephew. So
Yeah,
she's seen buried of her son and grandson.
yeah, and
And
it's heartbreaking.
Hey, Rich, what's your closing argument?
well, I made my closing argument.
I
I
wasn't finished.
kind
He
of
interrupted me.
okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Okay, so I'll make it short, but he interrupted me. I was almost done. But yeah, it's heartbreaking because no parent should have to, at any age, it doesn't matter what age your child is, no parent should have to bury their children. It's heartbreaking. And I think that law enforcement needs to do better at seeing these red flags and making sure that when people are brought into their station, that they do a thorough job so that what happened yesterday doesn't happen. Um, and I think that parents need to do a better job also at recognizing the warning signs, and sure they could have been prevented. And it's people dropped the ball on this,
Yeah, and I
kids,
agree.
and
But
lost
see,
their lives, and it shouldn't have happened. Better as a world. That's my do better together as a country. We need to come together and fix this because it's not what we're doing now is not working.
just okay. Am I able to speak?
Yeah,
Since
go ahead.
Dean
Your
asked.
closing remarks.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Here's the thing: is school shooting is a result of parental lacking, teachers lacking, authorities such as principals and police, they're lacking, and also all the exposures of game and movies and also back talks. You know, a lot of that stuff. We are seeing less of those things than we did 30 years ago when we got disciplined. These are the results of what's going on today. All of that which stuff we talk about is the leading to what's going on in high school. That's just an overkill. If you listen to a whole podcast, you'll see where it's leading up to. Dean, all yours.
Yeah, apparently, I think that's about it. You guys pretty much covered what I was gonna say.
Yes. Good.
You got anything to add?
No, I don't actually, because both of you pretty much took everything that I wanted to say, so.
Okay.
Well, that's
I'm sorry,
good. We're on the
Dean.
same page.
What about your experiences, Dean? You got anything to add about your experiences?
I have
You
many
know,
fucking
just an
experiences.
overload.
I got so many fucking experiences, it's not even funny. But
Right? And
that's
he's like,
besides the
"Rocket,
point. But
we
that's
don't
besides the
have
point.
another hour for this."
So
Okay.
anyway,
Well, I was
next.
just
So
talking
yeah,
about he
next.
can talk about 30 seconds. All right.
I am
Well,
All
I
right.
am
So next.
available next week.
Yeah,
I
next
am.
week
So
I
we
have no fucking idea what the hell we're gonna talk about. But I'll figure something out.
next
Anyway.
week is going to be random hot topics, whatever's going on, whatever's hot.
Ooh, we could make like a gaming one or a video. Yep. We could do like
Well,
movie shit.
that's why I said hot topics. We can talk about games, we can talk about politics, everything in one podcast. It's whatever's currently hot right now. We're going to talk about it.
Also,
we're gonna need it. We're
tomorrow.
gonna need to talk about politics again because getting into October, we are getting so close to who's are the next president of the United
Yeah,
States.
but we can figure out future podcasts after we end this.
Yeah. Next week I do
All right.
have. Next week I do have a few major announcements, so hopefully you guys are ready.
Woohoo. Yes, yes.
Okay.
So,
Always.
yeah, this is the video closing argument. So, and now this is done. Goodbye.
All right. All right.